Hey everybody, it's me again, LaRonda Greats. For those who don't know me yet, um, trying some new things with this hair and this head wrap and all of that, working on that. Anyway, I'm LaRonda. I started this new YouTube channel committed to supporting and lifting up Black women over the age of 50. Personally, I was born in 1963, the year they marched on Washington, and that's important to me today because yesterday was the 55th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So may his soul rest in peace. And I know that I would not have made it as far as I've made it in my journey without the sacrifices of Dr. King and so many others in the civil rights movement. So big ups to them. And again, the name of my channel is Black Women Over 50. Our lives matter too. Yes, they do. And it's my goal to continue to offer support and allyship and co-conspiratorship to Black women who are out here trying to do the doggone thing. I have my notes again. So one of the things that came up for me as I was thinking about this week's topic, the song by Kenny Rogers, and the song goes, you gotta know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, and know when to run. And then the last part says, you never count your money when you're sitting at the table. There'll be time enough for counting when the dealing's done. Okay? So know when to hold them. So I've gotten calls this week from folks asking me about career advice and things like that. And that's one of the things that we as women folks, once we make it over 50, folks want to hear our opinions. They want to get guidance from us. So I'm honored when anyone calls and reaches out or shoot me an email or something just to get my take on something. And I also, I'm a lifelong learner. I've said that before. I'm reading something. I'm watching a YouTube video. I'm learning from people, not just people who look like me or whatever. So resources that I'll give you that are impacting me, I will share with you. They won't always be just from Black women, etc. Because as Black folks, as Black women, we've not always had the ability, access to share our knowledge, right? That's why we love YouTube. That's why I love YouTube, because even without a book deal or any of that other kind of stuff, without a TED Talk platform, I can sit here and share with you the things that are on my mind, that have come to my mind. Okay? So, know when to hold them, know when to fold them. So sometimes I'm thinking about it as far as a job is concerned. Okay? I kept my job. Sometimes I stayed on jobs a long time because I was raising 2 children. I've talked about that before. And you can't just be quitting your jobs all willy-nilly. Before I had children, before I got married, the longest I had ever worked a job was 2 years. So the first year is always the honeymoon phase, right? Everything's going well. What they said they stood for, yeah, they bring you in. And then it's the second year. As you're going through the second year, you start looking around like, is this what I want to be doing with my life? Is this how I want to be living my life? And back then the answer was no. So I would dip. I would go and work someplace else or do something else because even at this age, I still don't really know, where I'm going. What I know about my life is that my life is going this way, right? It's going up, and again, I told you, I'm a child of the hip hop generation, so it's a song that popped into my mind. It's like, all the way up, nothing can stop me. I'm on the way up. Thanks, Fat Joe. All right. So also, I heard I was on a webinar earlier today, and he was giving career advice, and he said there are 3 areas that you have to think about you might want to be in when you're just as you're in your life, right? And I think at this age, ladies, what do you think? Do you want to be the operator? You're the one that's doing the work, right? Things that need to get done, you are the one that's doing them. The second one is an advisor, which is where I find myself at these days. You want to hear my thoughts and opinions? You make your own decision. We were given free will. You can make your own decision, but I'm happy to give you advice if you want that. And the third one is an investor. I still need people to invest in me at the moment, and that's just fact, right? And I have some mentors and folks who are investing knowledge and guidance and showing me things that I just didn't know. And I'm learning, and I'm like, that might work, or no, that won't work for me, I've had people reach out to me and offer me things that they think might be good for me. And again, I'm in charge of this life over here. So I've definitely learned how to say no thank you. No thank you. It's just not a good thing for me. And that's to the, know when to walk away. I'm not, don't take it personally if I say no thank you. It's just something that doesn't fit me and where I am in my life right now. And then the last one is know when to run. You ever been in one of those situations where you're like, I gotta get out of here. This is not feeding my spirit. It's not serving me. It's probably not serving the other folks that I am working with either. So time for me to run and get out of there. So yeah, and the last part is you never count your money when you're sitting at the table. There'll be time enough for counting when the dealing's done. Yeah, I'm at a time in my life now where I can sit back. I'm sitting back. I'm not working right now. I'm sitting back going, let me look at all of the information that I've gathered in my life over the course of these 60 years and how times have changed, how the world has changed. So many dates keep popping up. Dates. 2007, 2008, when the economic crisis happened. During that time, in 2007, 2008, for me, my son was just graduating from high school, so I still had one more to get through high school. She was going into 6th grade as he was starting college. And for me, I was still on kind of like the treadmill, right, of being their mother and trying to make sure that they had what they needed and that I kept learning and growing. And what I challenge you women who are out there still in the midst, if you're raising your kids now, if your kids are, whether they're still whatever age they are, because you never know for women in our age bracket, but when you think about where do you want to be when, say for instance, in my case, in 2014, when my daughter would be graduating from high school, where did I want to be? I knew. Good thing about 2007, 2008 for myself is that I didn't, I can say I didn't feel the pinch of the economic crisis. I think I was working for the past 25 years in private schools. So during that time, I can remember, I think that they told us that we weren't going to get our normal raise every year, but I never felt like my job was in jeopardy or whatever, because people still needed to pay to get they still needed to educate their children, and those who had the money, which were the parents of the students that I was working with, they were still going to make that sacrifice for their children for the most part. Maybe some had to pull their kids out because it just became too much. But I don't think our enrollment went down too much or anything during that economic crisis. I think we just kind of slowed things down a little bit. And then the irony is, when I started working in independent schools, well, I wasn't even paying attention because I really was fortunate enough that I came into independent schools, private schools, if you will, when I was able to get free tuition for both of my children. Well, for one of my children, and then they said it was like financial aid. But either way, they both went through with full tuition paid. And today, you'd be hard pressed to find private schools that offer that kind of benefit. But for me, again, I was able to put both of my kids through private schools, and because it was free, I didn't even pay attention to, had I had to contribute, like I see so many parents now, educators in private schools have to kick in something. I would have paid more attention, but I know that by the time my daughter graduated in 2014, the tuition was about $35,000 a year. So, again, I was at that school for 16 years, and 14 of those 16 years, I had at least one of my children attending that school. So even if you take that 35,000 and multiply that by 14, that was quite a benefit for me and for my children, and I praise God for that. And then that makes me think about, so that was a great benefit. I didn't really think about it. And then when my daughter graduated and I decided to leave the school that both of my children graduated from, I thought, let me see if the skills, in addition to, I had worked now in private schools for 16 years, let's see if they'll transfer. And they did. And I was able to continue to go up, right? To go up with my income. Actually, I took a step back for 1 year when I took my first job right out of that school in New Jersey. I took a financial step back, but then I went up, because I went into full-time administration of schools. All that to say, by the time when my daughter graduated, I was 51, and I had been planning. I was like, okay, I want to do this, continuing with the upward growth, and knowing. So I knew it was time to run and leave that school in New Jersey, because I had leveled out. I had done about everything I could do at that school. And then I went and I was going up. And then, I just switched a couple jobs and things like that, working in administration, still working my life's goal of continuing to grow my career and that. And then my kids are all grown. And now what do you do? What do? You wanna be happy? You need a different purpose, a different mission, because now they're on they're off to their lives, doing their thing. And for me, I decided, I had seen during the pandemic, when the pandemic hit, another, monumental world change. We all went through it together. Crazy, crazy times. I saw Dr. Arthur C. Brooks. He writes for The Atlantic. He teaches a course on happiness at Harvard University. And Dr. Brooks told these stories, and I'm going to paraphrase and get them a little wrong, but this is how it sits in my spirit to this day. He said, basically, like you start adulthood when you're 20, right? And you're in your 20s, and then between 20 to about 35, you're doing pretty good. You're grinding, you're working. And when you hit about 35, you come to a fork in the road. And you have to decide, am I going to be happy? Am I satisfied? Because that's when, especially for us women, black women, it's a little different too, because there are other deciding factors. But when a woman is, by the time I was 35, I had both of my children and I was already divorced. So now I'm a single woman out here at 35, but where am I going? And Dr. Brooks said from 35 to 55 is that you pretty much make another plan, because that's like another plateau, like I'm going to go to the next level, right? And so from 35 to 55 for me, I was doing that thing, right? I was like, okay, she's going to graduate. I'm going to be 51. That's still employable. I'm okay. I'm not too old in that. And then from 55, he says at 55, you come to another fork in the road. If you're healthy and you're doing what you need to do with your life, you're doing pretty good, and you can decide, I'm going to be happy, and this is how I'm going to be happy, how I'm going to live my life. Where I am right now, I'm at this fork in the road at 60. What am I going to do next, right? And that goes back to, am I going to be an operator? Am I going to just get another job? Am I going to be an advisor? People keep saying, you could be a consultant. Not consult about what? I don't know. And lastly, an investor. I can invest my time, and I know some women who have decided that they are going to, they want to help children. That was I've been helping children all my life. So I kind of want to do something different. I'm not sure what it is, but I'm in a really good space, and I feel like I'm taking care of my health. And as Dr. Brooks says, he said, then I'm going to hit another plateau, when I get to be about 75. And he said that the professors at Harvard who get the highest ratings, who are the best professors, who the students enjoy taking their courses most, are in their 70s. He says, because by the time you're in your 70s, you already know what you know, right? I feel pretty good about that. I feel like what I know, I'm not as anxious as I used to be. I feel, look, I started a YouTube channel. I think I got something to say. I can tell some stories, and I'm a happy person, even without all of the a friend of mine taught me this accoutrement, right? My husband is not. I don't have a husband, I don't have a significant other in my life yet. Hey, I'll let you, girl. But I'm a happy person. I'm happy because I am taking care of myself. My health is good. My brother says, health is wealth. The sun shines where I live most every day. Those are the types of things that make me happy. I have, food and shelter, all the basic necessities. And then he says, when you get to be about 75, he's told a story about Beethoven and Johann Sebastian Bach. He said, and those two men, when they got to their 70s, 75 or whatever, they looked around at they were at that fork in the road. And they were like, Johann Sebastian Bach continued to compose, continued to do his great work. And while he was doing that, he was just as happy as he could be. He composed well into his 90s. When he died, he left a piece of music that they say is probably some of his best work that he made in his 90s, because he believed that he still had good in him. The other dude, Darwin is whoever I said before. Darwin was the other one. He said he had already made his greatest discoveries in his 70s, and so he kind of shriveled up and died. Wasn't still feeling like there was more to him, because he felt like he had already reached his peak. How you going to reach your peak when you're not dead? As long as we're living, as long as we have breath in our bodies, we have to keep going. So that's what this message is about today. You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away. Relationships, friendships, jobs, whatever, know when to run. And don't count your money. Don't count your money ahead of time. Don't count your money in front of people, because people are jealous and envious. And just most of all, try to find ways that bring you happiness. Don't let nobody else tell you how to do it. You might have been listening to people all the time being like, oh, you should be doing this or you should be doing that. Find out the things that make you happy and go for them. That's my message for this week. We are in the Easter season, Palm Sunday, Passover, Good Friday. It's coming up, Easter Sunday. If that's your religious practice, God bless you and good for you. I know some folks are, my Muslim brothers and sisters are in the middle of Ramadan and fasting, and there are things that we can focus on negatively. I choose to stay with the positive. I'm a glass half full type of person. And as far as I'm concerned, the best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. I hope this is encouragement for you. Like, subscribe, hit your comments. Let me know, where are you in your journey right now? Do you know if you want to be an operator? It's interesting because the other piece about that operator, advisor, investor, someone was talking about being an entrepreneur. And sometimes people start their own businesses when actually all they want to do is have a good working environment to work in. That doesn't mean that you need to start your own business, because if you start your own business, you also need to be a good manager. I know a lot of people who have started businesses when all they wanted to do was do their thing, whatever their thing is. If it's cake baking or whatever. If you want to bake cakes and you want to do that and hire somebody, or go find somebody that you can partner with that's going to manage your books well, because you just want to bake cakes, right? So it's about your decisions, setting boundaries, and doing what makes you happy. I see y'all next week. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a good weekend. Bye.